Hello, welcome to another very beautiful video for you today. I am Adeyemi and you are welcome to Edu Paragon TV. In the last video, we talked about direct variation and I told you that I am going to take you through the four categories of variation rather, and the first one being direct variation. We now going to the next one, which is inverse variation, or you can simply call it indirect variation. As the name implies, it is indirect, going in the opposite direction. It is exactly the opposite of direct variation. And I promise you to make it as simple as possible. But before we get into the class proper, I would like you to like our channel, also subscribe to it, and turn on the notification so that you can always receive this kind of video anytime I will release them. And don't forget to share. Good things belong to everybody, isn't it? So let us all enjoy this together. Once again, welcome to Edu Paragon TV, and let's get to the class. Hey, welcome to the class. Inverse variation, that's what we are discussing today. I need to tell you something before we go ahead. Keep your comments coming. I actually appreciate that. All your comments, they are very valuable to us, and I will always respond to them. Thank you very much. So let's get to the meaning of inverse variation. What does it mean? For inverse variation, increase in one quantity leads to decrease in the other quantity and vice versa. Now, what does this tell us? It simply lets us know that when, for example, you increase quantity A, quantity B will go in the opposite direction, that is decrease. And of course, if you decrease quantity A, quantity B will go in the opposite direction, increasing itself. So this is the simple explanation of inverse variation. And of course, it is important for us to learn how to write inverse variation. So if y varies inversely as x, then we always write y proportional 1 over x. Y proportion sign rather 1 over x. And this is read as y varies inversely as x, or y is inversely proportional to x. So this is how to read this statement, and it's very important for us to be able to do that. Remember, in the other video that we talked about direct variation, we mentioned constant of proportionality. It will always come around because we need it to proceed in solving variation questions. And because variation statements, it is not equation, you can't go ahead and solve it. You need to convert it to an equation. That's why you introduce equal to sign, and when you do that, you bring in the constant of proportionality, and that is y is equal to k times 1 over x. Of course, that will simply give us y is equal to k over x. I also have diagram for you in this, so let's get to see the diagram. All right, sorry, before the diagram, it is important for us to learn this, learn these statements or understand these statements and keep them to heart, because they will help you in solving your questions. They can come up, it can be used to ask questions. And that is, this simple equation you have here is the relationship between x and y, or you simply say it is the formula formula connecting x and y, that is the two variables or the two quantities. And also, if you don't want to say that, you can say is the equation connecting the two variables or the two quantities, as the case may be. So let's get to the diagram. All right, in the diagram is very simple. We have an arrow like I did for you in the direct variation. You have an arrow going up representing quantity A, and you also have another arrow for quantity B. Now you take note that when quantity A is increasing, quantity B is decreasing. This is inverse variation. And also on the other side, if quantity A is decreasing, you will see the quantity B will now be increasing. So you notice that in this case, the quantities move in opposite direction. And so that's why we call it inverse variation. With this, we are safe to go and look into questions, solving examples. All right, example 1, let's see the question. Okay, if y varies inversely as x and y is equal to 15 when x is equal to 7, A, find the equation connecting x and y. Remember that in my explanation. B, find the value of y when x is equal to 10.5. Let's see the solution. Right, the first thing you will do here is to write your variation statement, which is y is inversely proportional to x. Of course, y is equal to k over x. Y is equal to k over x. So that is our equation, and that's what we are going to work with. But for me, I think it's simpler, since we are going to find k first, and even that is what the question asks us to do. It is important for us to make k the subject of the formula. Doing that, we just need to multiply x to both sides. So you now have k is equal to xy. That is, when x multiplies y, x multiplies k over x, and x can divide each other, leaving k, and then you have xy. So this is simpler, so that it will be easy for us to move ahead in what we want to solve. So let's get to solve k. We already know y to be 15 and x to be 7. So we just substitute. Wherever we see y, we put 15. Wherever we see x, we put 7. And so k is equal to 7 times 15. And if you do that correctly, you are simply going to have 105. You're going to have 105. So it means then that k is equal to 105. So we have solved question A. Let's go ahead to solve question B. This is the equation connecting x and y. And that is why you must not rush, you must not make a mistake, because the question actually is find the equation connecting x and y. So if you stop at finding k, then there is a problem, and that is just we are just saying now. So equation connecting x and y is equal to 105 over x. And so this statement concludes our question A. So let's get to question B. Before we solve question B, we need to quote this equation so that it will remind us of what we need to do. So we want to go ahead now. So since x is given to us as 10.5 and k, we already found that to be 105. Then we can go ahead and substitute to find y. And so y is equal to 105 over 10.5 using this equation. K over x. K is 105, x is 10.5. So that's why we have this. Now, to go ahead and divide, we cannot do that because we have a decimal point as denominator. So what do we do then? Just check the decimal place of the decimal number, and this one in this case is just one decimal place. It means this is in 10th position according to the place value system. So because of that, just multiply both sides by 10. If you have two places, decimal places rather, then that is 100. You multiply by 100. So since it's just 10, we multiply by 10, the numerator and the denominator. And when we do that, we have 1050 as the numerator and 105 as denominator. And going ahead to divide that, y will simply give us 10. Y will give us 10. And so this concludes our first example. I have another example for you so that you can ground this knowledge in your mind. Example 2. Let's see the question. Okay, just wait for it to come. All right, the question is here. X is inversely proportional to root y. A, find the constant of proportionality if x is 9 when y is 25. All right, the B, now find the equation connecting x and y. So question A rather will find the constant of proportionality, which is k. Question B, we find the equation connecting x and y. So let's see question C. Find the value of y when x is 25. When x is 25. So let's get to the solution. Okay. So again, don't forget, quote the variation statement. And in this case, it is x is proportional to 1 over root y. So that is x is inversely proportional to root y. That's what it means. Then let's pick our values. So we need to introduce equal to sign and k. And then doing that, we have x is equal to k over root y. I have already explained this to you, so don't let us waste time. Let's go ahead. So finally, you have k is equal to x root y. Of course, I've explained to you how did we arrive at this. Just multiply both sides by root y. So root y will divide root y, and root y will multiply x, and so you have k is equal to x root y. So let's pick the values now. X is equal to 9 when y is equal to 25. So just substitute. Wherever you see x, put 9. Wherever you see y, put 25. Okay, so you have k times root 25. Now root 25 will give you what? That will give you 5. So you now have k is equal to 9 times 5. And that is simply 45. So with this, we have found the constant of proportionality, which is k. So let's go to B part of the question, which simply says that we should find the equation connecting x and y. And that is simply x is equal to 45 over root y. 45 over root y. 45 being the value of k. So we can go ahead and solve question C. So to solve question C, we need to quote that equation showing the relationship between x and y. Then we pick our values. K is 45 and X is 25. So just substitute. So you now have 25 standing in for X and 45 standing in for K. So what we want to find is Y. So we still have root Y there. So what do we do here? We need to make Y the subject of the formula. And how do we do that here? We simply multiply both sides by root Y. And when we do that, 25 multiplied by root Y, because Y will multiply 25, then Y will multiply 45 over, root Y rather, not Y. Root Y will multiply 45 over root Y. Root Y can divide root Y, leaving 45. And then we have 25 root Y is equal to 45. But we are not done yet. We still need to do something to make Y the subject of the formula. And that is simply by dividing both sides by 25. And when we do that, this is what we have. So we have root 25 root Y over 25 is equal to 45 over 25. And 25, we divide 25, leaving Y, and so we have 45 over 25 here. That is what we are going to see now. So root Y now is equal to 45 over 25. Now, we still not get it to where we are still not up to where we are going. We need to make Y the subject of the formula, not root Y. So what do? We simply square both sides. We square both sides. Square this and square this also. When we do that, we have root Y all squared is equal to 45 over 25 all squared. Now, I need to explain this to you, that anytime, it is standard in mathematics, that anytime you have root something all squared, the answer will be the content of the root, the content of the square root. So in this case, Y is the content of the square root here, and it is all squared. By standard in mathematics, your answer will simply be the content, which is Y in this case. So we just have Y is equal to 2025 over 625. 2025 is the square of 45. That is 45 times 45. And 625 is the square of 25. So if you check these two very well, the numerator and the denominator, something can divide the two of them that is common to them, and that is 25. So let's use that to divide, and we are going to have, oh, sorry about what I just said, it's not 25. Just use 625 to divide 2025. Use 625 to divide 2025, and that will give you 150 over 625. 150 over 625. And looking at 150 and 625, 25 is common. 25 is common. And use that to divide 150 and 625. We are going to have Y is equal to 6 over 25. All right, we have been able to solve the second example. And it is my wish to leave you with activities to practice on your own. Let's get to see the questions. This is question 1 and the question 2, then question 3. This question 3 has a table. You get to the table now. So this is the table. With this, we have come to the end of another beautiful mathematics video for you. I will encourage you to try these questions on your own. Get back to me, leave a comment in the comment box, and I will always interact with you. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.